Hello, hello, and happy, excuse me, Saturday Chat Live. It is good to see you all here on April 9th, 2022. Thank you for stopping by for our every 2 week, every 2 weeks, live stream. So, a few things before we get going. If you're new here, the way these things work is I try to do the live stream for about 30 minutes. Sometimes it goes a little bit longer. Sometimes it's right at 30 minutes because I know you have a lot of things to do and I have a lot of things to do. So we will definitely, try to keep it concise and make sure we can answer whatever questions you might have. So a few things, excuse me, I'm sorry. I should not drink anything before a live stream. I do have a fundraiser associated with this live stream. So if you have a dollar or two, there's a fundraiser for the children of Ukraine tied to this video on YouTube. So if you can have $5, something like that, drop it in there. I would appreciate it. It doesn't go to me or anything. It goes to, the children of Ukraine. So please do that if you can. All right, let's go back to here. First, let me know where you're all watching from. I love knowing where you are in the world, where you happen to be watching from. Lets me know where my audience is from and helps me kind of tailor the stream to you. So let me know what is going on and where you're at in your neck of the woods. A couple of updates or a few updates about the channel. So I have a new video ready to roll. Probably going to record that tomorrow morning and have it out early next week on the inverse transformation. We're going to continue that playlist and then we'll see where we sort of go from there. So just doing, videos the best I can, given whatever time I have. It's very busy season at work right now. At my 9-to-5 job, this is a time of year when we do a lot of product releases. We have a lot of marketing and sales type things for schools that are going to adopt for the fall. So it's a busy season at work, and of course it's the springtime, at least not today. It's actually snowing today. But I have some things outside to do. So the springtime is a really busy time. So I just do the best I can with making content. It's just a matter of time. So, but a new video should be out early next week on the multiplicative inverse transformation. It'll be short. It won't be as involved and in-depth as some of the other ones. I just kind of want to quickly go over what it is and where you might implement it, and then keep going. So, all right. Who do we got in the chat? I will get to some of your questions. Oh, by the way, so you are more than welcome to put questions in the chat. I will do my very best to answer them. I'm not, as I say, a human Wikipedia. I don't have everything at the top of my brain, but I do have my little notepad here. I write things down. The best place to ask me things is on LinkedIn. The second best is via the contact form on my little website that I can put in the chat. Keep in mind that I get to those questions when I have time, the best I can. If I don't respond immediately, or honestly, if I don't respond at all, it's not personal. It's just overwhelming with the amount of things going on. So if I can't answer it here in the live stream, I can answer it, offline at a later time. So we don't have to stick to anything, about statistics necessarily. I'm more than happy to answer, related things or whatever else, as long as it's within reason. So feel free to pop those in the comments. All right. So I'll get to. So we're from Manchester, Saravan. Good to see you here in the chat. Thanks for stopping by. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. And Caesar Julius, I guess I'm saying that right. Very clever. From India. Excellent. Larry, what's up, buddy? Hope you're doing well there in Spain. So happy with all the things that you're doing, and I'm glad for all your success. And Larry's doing great. Larry has his own consulting firm. So if you ever need anything like that, you can always, contact Larry on LinkedIn. He'd be glad to help. So Larry and I go way back at this point. So good to see you, Larry. All right, from Raleigh, Luis, I hope I'm saying that right. From Raleigh, I do have some coworkers there in Raleigh. So part of our team at Cengage is the WebAssign team. They're at NC State. They're in Raleigh. And so I hope to make it there someday. Well, it's good to see you. All right. George, hello, sir. Hello. Hope you are doing well. Noah, Las Vegas. Hope to make it back to the good old Las Vegas at some point. Haven't been there in a few years. I went there for a work trip, and I've only been once. I hope to go back to Vegas. So thanks for stopping by the live stream. All right, so I'm trying to go up through some of the comments here. Yeah, so drop those comments in there, and I'll do the best I can. So questions, comments, and also feel free to talk to each other. So you're not just talking to me in the comments or anything. So if someone makes a comment in the live stream that you think you can help and be a benefit to that person, feel free to respond to them in the chat. And then maybe you all can connect. If you have any more questions, you all can connect offline, and then you make a new colleague, friend, or online, acquaintance, which is great. So, all right. So where are we at? Oh, yeah, Larry. Just got a chance to watch your live stream. Oh, you're very welcome, Larry. Thanks for that. I know you're busy with your own things. Larry, I know you're very busy with your own business and your family and stuff. So I appreciate you taking the time to stop by, even if it's for a few minutes. It's always good to see you on here. I'm going to go back up here. All right, statistical question. Sarvan asks, is an adjusted R-square of 0.58 for two variables a good figure? This is in the social sciences where there can be a lot of variables. Well, Sarvan, that depends. So the R-squared is just, telling you how much variance is explained by the regression model, sort of in this case, but that's not enough. We have to look at the ANOVA table, the F table, to see if the overall model is significant. Then we should look at each variable to see, which ones are or are not significant. And then we make the holistic determination of how well the model is based off all of those things. So the R-squared can be deceiving sometimes. You can actually have, especially when you get into larger data sets or more variables and stuff like that, where the R-squared or the adjusted R-squared doesn't seem like it's all that high. But when you look at the overall model, the F table or the ANOVA table, the overall model is significant. And of course, you have a variable or variables that are significant as well. So take the R-squared, the adjusted R-squared, in the context of everything else in the model to determine whether or not that model is a, quote, good fit. But one thing you do know here is that there's still over 40% of the variation that's unexplained. So, is it a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it just depends. It just depends. What do you expect for it to be? So it just depends. But look at that in the context of everything else. All right, Louis asks, how would you define statistical learning? Well, statistical learning is a lot of things, Louis. I would say statistical learning is obviously learning the statistics. So kind of what my channel does, learning, the different techniques, but also goes well beyond that. I think statistical learning is about statistical thinking. It's about problem solving. It's about formulating problems, understanding what data you have or can obtain to answer that question, and then how to implement the statistical techniques to answer that question or problem, and then be able to interpret the results from that statistical process, and then communicate those results to whatever end user there is. So it's the whole chain. We oftentimes get compartmentalized in our learning. So like, I'm going to learn statistics, or I'm going to learn Python, I'm going to learn R, and all that other stuff, which is fine, but that's not enough. Statistical learning is much broader. It's being able to think in a problem terms, because all statistics does is help us answer a question or solve a problem. It's just a tool. And then we have to know how to implement that, and then how to interpret and communicate that to whatever end user had the original question in the first place. As I've always said on this channel, I also highly recommend, or highly suggest, or I call it a requirement actually, to be a broad-based reader and learner in whatever discipline you work in. So if you are learning statistics for biology, then you need to understand biology more broad. If you're doing statistics for finance, you got to understand finance more broadly, or whatever else it might be. You want to be well learned, well versed in the discipline itself, and that includes not only academic type things, but newspaper articles, biographies, historical, books, stuff like that, to be a broad-based sort of thinker. Because otherwise it's just a bunch of formulas and buttons you click in software, which is not, that's not the broad-based statistical learning I sort of think. Okay. Let's see here. All right. So, Muffy asked, would you talk about statistical thinking? That's a very good question. I think I just sort of answered some of that in that last comment about statistical learning. So statistical thinking is not about thinking about the algorithm I'm going to use, the test I'm going to use, and then backing up to the problem. It's about thinking about the problem first, and then going out to the tool shed of statistical techniques, and then breaking out the right tool to answer my original question. So if I'm a small business owner and I'm trying to learn more about my customers, okay, so let's say I have a question, I don't know, let's say I have a very simple question about, sales per day. So I want to know if, is there any statistical difference between the sale amounts for each day of the week? Okay. So it's a fairly simple thing to do. So that's my question. Now, what sort of statistical techniques would I break out to do that? So I could have a collection of sales for each day of the week. I could compare the means for those days and see if there's any difference between the means for all 7 days. So you could do that to see if there's any difference. If I am, again, a small business owner, and I'm trying to determine, doing A/B test for something in my business. So it could be any number of things. What would I break out there? Well, you could do like a paired test. You could do some sort of other type of test. So the question comes first, then the technique, then run the technique, get the results, interpret the results, and communicate that to the end user, which in that case is you, the business owner. So statistical thinking is about the entire process, thinking about the entire process, in my view. And somebody else might say something different, which is completely fine. That's just sort of the way I take my take on it. So Luis said statistical learning versus machine learning. Yeah, so obviously machine learning overlaps with statistical learning and statistical techniques, especially in the areas of regression or linear regression and logistic regression, but also in other ways too that you may not sort of realize. That's why if you want to get into machine learning, having a understanding of fundamental statistics is very important, at least up through like multiple regression and logistic regression, because it's very important to understand the characteristics of populations and samples. The central limit theorem is obviously very important, because otherwise people just click these variables and just run them through the garbage disposal of a machine learning algorithm. And of course, at the back end of that, you're going to get garbage. So it's really about understanding. I think statistical thinking really comes in handy when you're thinking about implementing some type of algorithm, whether it's a regression algorithm or a classification, algorithm. And then understanding the assumptions that go into some of these things, like regression. Regression specifically works best or assumes, depending on how many variables you have, a Gaussian distribution in multi-dimensions. And if your data doesn't do that, it'll take it, it'll ingest it and run the algorithm, but what you get back isn't optimal. So just about understanding all those things. And of course, they definitely overlap. And sometimes the best thing you can do for analyzing data is just basic descriptive statistics. That's all. Sometimes that's all you need. And of course, basic data visualization would come into that too. So Brian asks, I can't do all this in a live streams. I have videos on this. But he says, I've been interviewing for programming jobs, and a lot of them want A/B testing. When it comes to estimating a sample size, so doing power analysis, can you go over power of the test, alpha value, and effect size? So I have videos on this. Give me 1 second. I'm not sure. let's see here. I'll keep talking, but maybe might pull this stuff up. Let's do this. Move this over here. So the basic idea behind this is that we can pull this up. If we can actually select a sample size for a predetermined level of statistical power. It's just algebra, is all it is. So let's see here. There it is. Okay. So if I can share this little screen over here. So I'm going to do share my screen, share screen. There we go. Okay. So in this hypothesis testing playlist, I have this video on calculating type 2 error, which is related to statistical power. So if you have not watched this video, I would definitely recommend doing that, which I think I can paste that in here for everybody if you want it. Yeah. So yeah, the basic idea here is that just through algebraic manipulation, and I think I go over this in this video, when you choose your alpha level, okay, your type, when you choose your alpha, you're also choosing your beta. Now, what you can do is, especially in hypothesis testing, when we say that we failed to reject the null hypothesis, or, we don't say we accept the null. However, you can say you accept the null if you control for the power of the test, okay? So type 2 error. So what you can do there is select the right sample size to give you the statistical power you want. So this video goes over that, talks about power curves and related ideas. But all this is, Brian, is a simple algebraic manipulation of the formula for statistical power. I'd have to go in and see where it is in there. So yeah, it's somewhere in here. Yeah, so it's here, I promise. I remember I made it, but you can check out that video that will go over all that. That will go over that for you. All right. So sorry, that was a I didn't mean to. I'm not trying to dodge your question, Brian, at all. But it's obviously something I can't answer fully on a live stream. But that video definitely does that. So yeah, go ahead and check out that video. It's about 20 minutes, but it goes really in depth on this topic. Okay, and you are very welcome. Absolutely. I'm gonna take a drink real fast. Let's see here. Seraphine, you have a question about Tesla, which I really can't answer. I don't really follow that news, so unfortunately I can't comment on that. So I asked, what are your current interest areas, which apply statistics, and where are you headed with that? I've been following your channel for just over 2 years. I'm a fan of this channel. Well, thank you very much. So Noah, what I'm going to do is, well, as far as the channel goes, I'm going to keep doing a few videos on transformations, data transformations. So we've already done a square root transformation, well, transformations in general video. Then we had a square root, logarithmic, and the inverse, which I'm doing right now. And then we'll do maybe a couple others on transformations. So I do think that's one of those things people either skip or don't fully understand why they should be done, or actually how they work and practice sort of under the hood. And transforming variables can be very powerful because that pulls them in line with the assumptions of the test you are running. And it makes it run more optimally. So I'm going to continue doing that. But when it comes to interest areas, the problem is I have too many. So, I have interest areas in the design of experiments, sort of time series. I like to get more in depth in linear programming. I'm just one of those people that has 37 interests, and other things going at once, and it's hard to sort of pick one, So obviously, I'm interested in the teaching of machine learning, which is different than machine learning itself, but how to explain it to individuals who are new to it, who may not have the advanced statistical background other people might have. So I will say this, Noah, I have a very strong interest, as you might assume, in the teaching of all these things. How to explain it to people. That's my real interest. That's the umbrella over everything. So whenever I'm reading something or learning something or whatever else, yeah, I'm looking at that, but I'm also, other half of my brain is also thinking, how would I teach this to someone else that might be having, struggles or problems, or maybe intimidated by the content, especially. So that is, that's kind of where my thinking goes. It's always, I'm learning something and I'm always thinking about how I might teach it to someone else. And that's kind of defines my life, actually. So, all right. But Noah, I will say this, that I have many, many, many interests, and I have so many things I'd love to do on the channel and teach people and stuff like that. I can't even see an end point. There's so much. There's no real end point. I could do this for years and years and years and never run out of stuff I want to do. So, yeah. But yes, that's a powerful why. That is my why, So, and look, it doesn't have to be anything, I'm not looking to be a hero. I don't do this for fame or glory, definitely not for the money. I just do it to help people. And it doesn't have to be as big as YouTube. It can be just sitting down one-on-one with someone, like in a tutoring situation like I used to do, and watching that student's face light up because they get it. They came to me, some of them in tears, because they were getting ready to fail out of not only their class, though they were getting ready to fail out of their program. And we were able to get them back on track. So that's all. That's all it is. Just taking whatever I'm good at and helping people with it. Okay, so Dario, in Indianapolis, that's not far from me. Up in good old Indy, up the highway from Cincinnati. Excellent. Welcome, Dario. It's good to have you. Appreciate it, my friend. So, do my best to answer this one. Again, one of those live stream type things. Excuse me. So, when it comes to normalization versus standardization, I usually default towards normalization because it's a lot more explainable. Maybe. When do we use standardization over normalization? I have to go back to my notes. There are recommendations when you might use one over the other. Sometimes it's algorithm dependent. So some algorithms work better with normalization. Some work better with standardization. I will say, as someone who comes from the background of frequentist statistics, I'm actually more comfortable with standardization because I'm thinking in terms of standard deviations. So just putting things in the context of the distance from a mean or whatever else as a standard deviation, to me, that's more intuitive. Because I'm actually thinking about bell curves all the time. So standardization to me makes more sense. It also is the case that, like in regression and stuff like that, you can standardize the variables to have and interpret them all within the context of standard deviations, which again, to me, makes more intuitive sense. So Brian, what I would say is, depending on whatever technique you're employing, one of them might be favored over another. It works best with a particular algorithm. And I think the most important thing is to do that first. Second, pick the one that makes sense to you. And thirdly, just make sure that, and actually standardization and normalization are themselves data transformations, right? So when I do the transformation, videos, I'll probably talk about those two things as well. So it just depends. It just depends on the context and in, whatever algorithm you're employing and how you want to, interpret the results and communicate the results. I tend to think in terms of standardizations because I'm thinking about distributions all the time. So, all right. Yeah, so this is, when I have two data sets of different scales, being able to compare those two data sets with normalization is more understandable. If that works for you, absolutely. I think in terms of standardization. I think in terms of standard deviations from the mean. To me, that makes more sense because when I'm thinking about standard deviations away from a mean, I know like the percentages in the normal curve, how far it is away. So in my mind, I can actually picture a normal curve with shaded in areas. And to me, that makes sort of more sense. And a lot of algorithms standardize things under the hood anyway, right? So, I did a video where I talked about this. So I did, regression with standardized values and then compared the output of the regression with standardized values versus regression with just the typical values and showed how they're related, So just pick the one that works best for you and go from there, and or pick the one that works best with whatever algorithm or technique you are employing. It just depends. Good question though. But yeah, people don't realize that when you normalize or standardize variables, you're actually doing a data transformation. It is a type of data transformation, which is fine. But one's good at one time, and sometimes another one is best depending on what you're going to do. All right. Trying to go back through the other comments and questions here. See, make sure I got them all. All right. Flipping through. Okay. I think I have pretty much caught up to the questions. If you have any more questions or comments, now is a good time to put them in, because otherwise if the questions and comments slow down, then that's when I go ahead and shut off the stream. So now is a good time to ask them if you have them. While I'm waiting for any more questions or comments, I will say too that I am hopefully working on a very good sponsorship for some videos on the channel that will also potentially benefit you all. I'm very selective about sponsorship things on my channels. I don't want to bother anybody with anything that's not going to, benefit them. So hopefully I will have more to announce, about that in the coming weeks. Still working on the final details for that, and I'll announce it when that is finalized. But I'm looking forward to doing that. And here's the thing, I want everybody to understand this, is that you might be annoyed by people who do sponsorships on their videos, but that's what pays for our time to do this stuff. So, it's for taking 30 seconds to watch a little sponsorship clip in a video, that can mean all the difference between getting a video or not getting a video, period. Because a lot of us, I don't make hardly any money on YouTube. You'd think a channel my size would make a lot of money or whatever, but that's absolutely not true. It's not even, I don't really make enough money on YouTube each month to feed myself. That gives you some context. So the sponsorships are something I hope to do so I can actually afford to take the time to make more videos, because otherwise I have to focus on things in my life that quite literally pay the bills. All right. So, but I'll announce more about that hopefully in the future. All right. So, okay. So I think I haven't seen any other questions or comments, come in. So I'm going to wait maybe in 1 or 2 minutes, and then I'm going to head out and get rocking with the rest of my day, and let you get rocking with the rest of your day. So as I said before, I did do a little, there's a fundraiser with this video. So if you have a few dollars, please, consider contributing to that fundraiser. It's for Save the Children. It's for Ukraine, for humanitarian efforts, especially for children in Ukraine. Please consider dropping in a few dollars or something like that. All right. So, So Noah says, a great time here. I'm usually at the dog park doing group training and miss these live streams. I'm starting to learn about algorithms and data structures. Have you produced anything regarding them? So Noah, the only, in terms of when you say algorithms, the only quote algorithms I've really covered are those relating to regression. So simple regression, multiple regression, and logistic regression. If you're talking about other machine learning algorithms, I have not made videos about those, but I'm sure at some time I will, sometime I will. I definitely want to make some videos around those topics, especially in the context of teaching people that are new to it. So that is kind of where I'm at on those things. Data structures are probably a bit beyond me, so I don't really get that far into the weeds in terms of data structures. But some of the algorithms and stuff like that, I probably might do. So, yeah. So if you're talking for ML, for machine learning type stuff, my videos, when it comes to machine learning and my videos, it's just where the overlap happens, which is really in regression and logistic regression. So, all right. So, yeah, Brian, standardization versus normalization. Pick one is best for the audience. In my past job, it was more digestible to people. 2 sets of data between 0 and 1 normalization versus explaining why some numbers are not negative. Yes, absolutely. So standardization might be more a statistical audience, and normalization might be a more lay audience. And I mean that respectfully, Yeah. So, oh yeah, Larry has a good point. So Noah, if you checked out StatQuest, Josh Starmer's channel, Josh covers a lot on those algorithms. The other thing too is that a lot of people do machine learning videos. So I'm not sure what else I would really add to the canon of videos. But yes, Larry suggests if you have not checked out StatQuest, everyone in this channel should check out StatQuest. I'm sure many of you already have, are familiar with StatQuest. So Josh and I get mentioned sort of in the same sentence a lot. I tend to focus on traditional statistics, especially for like college students and things like that who are taking a stats class, or even maybe some high school students are taking AP stats, some more traditional type stats and the why. And then Josh goes into more of like the algorithms and stuff like that. So we kind of like complement each other in a way. And some people like his way, some people like my way, some people like both of us. I'm sure some people like neither of us, but that's the way it is. So yeah, StatQuest is obviously fantastic, and Josh can do it full time. He's able to do this full time. I'm not able to do this full time, so he probably has a bit more on those topics. Okay, so all right, cool. Faisal, hope I'm saying that correctly. I apologize if I'm not. I'm a follower from Cincinnati, just saying hi. All right, shout out to Cincinnati. Excellent. Excellent. Oh, by the way, y'all like my shirt? What do you think? So I saw that and I just had to get it. I thought it was really cool, really fun. All right, so anything? Just okay, going through the chat here. Joining from Sweden. Hope you're doing great. Andreas, good to see you again. Hope you're doing well over in Sweden. I want to get as I always say, I want to get to Stockholm as soon as possible. Hopefully in the next few years I will make it there. I'm not sure what that is. Skip that. Any recommendations for time series reading? Oh gosh, there's so many. So many. If you're looking for like a textbook, there are lots of textbook on time series. Econometrics depends on what you want to do with time series. Honestly, I do have books over my bookshelf over here, but I'm not going to dive over and grab them right now. Faisal, if you want, you can contact me on LinkedIn or my website, and I can maybe type in some of the titles on my bookshelf and give you some recommendations based off at least what I have. But it depends on where you're starting from too. If you're starting at the very, very basics, like if you're the first thing you're going to learn is naive forecasting, then You want to maybe start with like a textbook situation and then go into more advanced stuff. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Larry. Yes, Larry, thanks for helping out Noah. I love when you all do that and help each other out. Newbie still at machine learning, we'll check it out. Yeah, check out StatQuest. StatQuest. So, pull this out here. Yep, so, yeah, so this is Josh's channel. So this is the StatQuest channel. So as you can see here, he goes into more of the algorithm, type things here. So if you want to, see more about those things, you can definitely look at StatQuest. He goes into more machine learning type stuff, obviously. So I hope to make some stuff around those topics at some point. It's just a matter of, of time. All right. Where are we at here? HR Planet. Hello. Okay. Just VJ. Hope I'm saying that correctly. I'm going to apologize if I'm not. Hi. Hope you are doing well. As I always say, my channel would not be what it is without all my supporters in India. A significant proportion of viewers on my channel are located in India based on my analytics. And you've always been so nice to me and invited me on podcasts and other types of stuff. And I really hope to make it there someday to say thank you to as many of you as I can. So I hope you're doing well, and maybe I'll see you someday. But thank you for stopping by. Yeah, so reach out to me on LinkedIn. I can give you some book recommendations I have on my shelf. I have many books, as you might guess. All right. So, okay, I think I've caught up with most of the comments. So, let's see here. Our next live stream will be in 2 weeks, which is April 23rd, barring anything weird coming up that precludes me from being able to do it. Reminder, I will also have a new video out probably sometime early next week. The PowerPoint and everything is all done. I just have to sit down and record it. It'll be on the shorter side, so it should be easy to do. So look out for that coming out probably early next week. Just a quick hitter video on the inverse transformation, and then after that we'll just continue going on. So that's the plan. And I think in a month from now, in May, early May, that will be the year anniversary of live streaming, I think. So, and it definitely will be the 10-year anniversary of this channel in 1 month. So I'm going to try to do something special for the 10-year anniversary of the live stream. I don't know exactly what that will be yet. But 10 years on YouTube, I never thought in a bazillion years I would ever do this for 10 years. Ever. It was really an experiment. I was between jobs during a recession in 2012, and I had nothing else I could really do, applying for hundreds of jobs. I just sat down and started doing it, and here we are 10 years later. So yeah, I'm very grateful for all of you, and the fact that this channel has made it 10 years really is just mind-boggling. So that will be in May. I can remember when it is in May, because it's a very monumental moment when I started. So May of 2012 was when I started this thing. But anyway, that's me rambling. So I'm going to go ahead and go, but I will see you in 2 weeks, which is April 23rd. And then 2 weeks after that will be sort of the 10-year live stream. Maybe I'll put something together special for that. But you all are all amazing. Thank you for spending your valuable time here on the live stream. I know it's a Saturday, depending on where you are. It might be Sunday already. But I appreciate you stopping by and talking with me and reaching out with each other. So, yeah. So, Greatest Stat Channel. I'm not sure about that, but I'm glad just to help. Yeah, I'm just here to help. So, you all are wonderful, and keep working hard, and I will see you again soon in a couple of weeks. And, of course, the new video will probably be out sometime early next week. So, have a great Saturday. Take care, and bye-bye.